Hello,
Good morning.
everyone, and welcome to the magical and never interrupted world of PATHCO.
PATHCO.
Yes.
Sorry, I was excited.
Yes, I can tell. That's good. That's good. It's always good to be excited to play the fantasy game. Okay. Could any of you tell me what sort of thing went down last time?
We're on a boat with many colourful characters, including a guy with a Wolverine that he loves so much.
Oh, what's his name? He was such a good character.
Pate.
The Wolverine was named you, I believe.
The guy was called Pate. I remember.
Yeah, I believe he should still be in your handouts. Yeah.
Should be. I'm
Pate and Hugh, of course.
Pate and Hugh, and Florian John, the captain, and his wife, Hadwis. Hadwis. And
and that horrible son void child.
Don't say that. She's lovely.
Indeed.
In her own way.
I believe.
I'm just about to meet her.
Yes, I believe that you were just about to meet her.
There she is.
Okay.
Stream. With Pate and Hugh.
So, I propose that we pick up where we left off with you, Egg, or rather you, Dave, just about meeting the captain's daughter. As she suddenly sees you, Dave, as played by Egg, indeed.
Yep.
As she suddenly sees you, she seems to get quite a fright, and she suddenly fumbles with something that she'd been holding, sort of putting it onto her face, and says, "Oh, by Nethys, I'm so sorry." And you see the harsh light that was shining into your eyes. Which, didn't really affect you that much because you rolled a crit fortitude save.
He whips a pair of shades on.
The harsh light that was shining into your eyes suddenly abates as she puts on sort of a wooden mask which covers the part of her face that normally exudes this very bright sort of light. As she slides on two gloves, she just continues to sort of apologize to you and says, "I'm Aveline. I'm the captain's daughter. Pleased to meet you."
Hi, I'm Dave.
And she sort of weakly extends a hand to shake.
Dave will shake it. Said, "Your mum kind of sort of threw me at you. I think your mum's quite a lot like mine."
Oh yeah. She does do that sometimes. I'm sorry about that. Hope that doesn't bother you. I mean, you can go if you want.
No, it's fine. Like, I know that how boring it is to be stuck in a place where you can't really talk to anyone other than your family. So, and your mum said that you know stuff about birds, and I love birds.
Oh yeah, I do like birds. Do you have toast with you at the moment?
Yes, I do.
Egg?
I do have toast.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Was that a I do or I don't?
Yes, I do. Is my mic glitching out?
No, I
heard that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yes.
just didn't catch it for a moment.
Toast
I'm actually
is
going to turn
indeed.
up my volume a little bit, so bear with me for a second. There we go, that should be better. Okay, so yeah, and as she says, "Oh yeah, I do like birds. That's a nice what's that?"
She's toast. I don't really know what she is, but she's my friend.
Oh.
I found her in Scumport.
Hi, Toast. Oh,
I assume
Scumport.
Toast
I
is probably...
didn't know they had birds in Scumport.
I bought her from a really nice lady that had some other really cute birds, and I'd love to go back and see her some other day, so I can get some more birds. Toast is the one that comes with me when we go adventuring. The other ones stay at home.
Oh, right. So, what kind of birds do you have at home?
I've got an aviary with some songbirds in it, because I just set that up. And I've got a really angry falcon and a little magic canary.
Oh my... Oh, Nethys, you got a falcon? What kind? Is he nice? How big is he?
Dave will gesture sort of how big he is, and probably also point to like his I'm pointing at my hand. My Falconer's gauntlet, because he does have one of those on his character sheet and everything.
Cool.
He's really angry. I got him at a discount because he didn't like anyone, but we're friends. He's called Max. But he's back
Oh,
in
that's so
Riverton.
nice. I wish I could have a falcon, but my dad won't let me because they're dangerous. So I just have a. Well, I don't really have any birds.
Oh.
But I like reading about birds. My dad bought me a big book with drawings of birds, and they're very nice.
It's a shame that you can't have one. Falcons, which are well trained, aren't dangerous. Or they're only dangerous to, like, seagulls. Not to people.
Oh, well, there's quite a lot of seagulls around here, but I don't think that anyone would really miss them. So, maybe you should tell my dad that falcons aren't dangerous.
I could try.
Please?
Yeah, sure. If I see him around, we're still on ship for another day or so.
Mm-hmm. She nods and she sort of stares out into the general surroundings, and you see that at night here out in the sea, you see a lot of stars, and you hear sort of a weird cry, and roll knowledge nature actually
Knowledge,
for
nature.
that cry. Yeah. knowledge.
I'll take my turn.
All right.
Because I'm lazy, which will give me a
So that's a 20 total, right?
20... Yes, 20.
Yes. Okay, yeah, then you can tell that is the screech of a pseudo-dragon.
They probably, like, gasp and just, like, instinctually, like, grab her arm and shake it, like, oh, the pseudo-dragon! Where is it? Where is it?
What? Oh my god! What's happening?
Pseudo-dragon. I heard a pseudo-dragon. I really want to see a pseudo-dragon. Can I say it,
Oh.
or is it too dark?
Roll perception? Do you have low light or dark vision?
Nope. I do not. Perception. I'm just a halfling. We don't have anything fancy like that.
11. That's not gonna cut it.
Aw.
No, you it's pretty dark. And you don't really see any pseudo dragons, but the screams seem pretty close by.
Aw, that was definitely a pseudo-dragon. I guess if you've been on the ship a while, you must have seen some. Because I know they live around here.
Oh yeah, yeah, I have seen them. They're sort of well, they're pseudo dragons. They're dragons, but they're very small.
I've only ever heard about them. They sound so cute.
They are cute. My dad was bit once by a pseudo dragon. That happened.
I can't imagine he liked that very much.
They sort of chase the seagulls around quite often. Sometimes when we throw fish overboard or food that has spoiled, then they come and take it. And actually, maybe if you could. All right, so be careful about this, but maybe if you want to see if that pseudo dragon is still around, and she sort of, takes hold of the mask that is on her face, and she says, "I could, see if I can." And she takes it off, and making sort of a, what do you call those things? Like the thing that they do the Batman symbol with, the
Kind of floodlight thing.
floodlight. That's the word, floodlight. So it's sort of like a floodlight. This strong light that shines out of her face, and just about in this light, as she shines it around, you can see two green wings and a tail quickly scutter away, and as she follows it, you can see a green pseudo dragon that is flopping through the air and trying to make its way away from this weird light.
That's fair enough. Dave would probably like cheer. Yay, a dragon!
Yes, a dragon.
Finally seen one.
You can see that they have sort of a. They don't really have like a short beak like you know, pseudo dragons that you've often heard about, but these look sort of like they have like sort of alligator-like beaks.
Ooh, that's cool.
And yeah, they just seem they seem pretty robust, and they seem to have long beaks to sort of scoop fish out of the waters. And this thing just flops around, goes and flies away. Oh, look! Did you see it?
I did.
There it was.
Thank you. I
That's
was
quite
really
nice,
hoping to
isn't
see
it?
one.
And she turns and accidentally shines over your face, says, and again, quickly puts the mask back on.
Dave was just wishing he had an apparatus.
In the meantime, as Dave and Aveline are spotting pseudo dragons, Thyra and Clan and Sig, you guys were going to sleep, right? Or at least that's what I seem to remember you guys having done last session.
Thyra and Sig were kind of in their bunks. I don't know what Glenn was up to.
Glanvar, what do you think? Would you have hit the hay at this point?
Yeah, I think he would have done.
Okay, yeah. Sigmund, could you roll me a, quick roll save, please?
It's like that, is it?
No, it's like that, buddy.
Alright, let me just get to that right bit.
It's not a high DC, don't worry.
No, that's fine. Well, he's been very sad. He's been looking at his...
He has been.
He's been looking at his will save, he said, yeah?
Yeah.
Roll against the
that's good.
sadness.
Not bad.
That's good. Yeah, you have actually a very restful night. Which helps to alleviate your worries about the general state of things.
Oh shit, yeah, okay. I remember some of the stuff that happened. Yeah, that makes sense. He's still pretty sad. Like, he's still, like, he was looking at his locket a lot before he went to sleep, and he's just kind of like sighing. Like, he might have mentioned that, just hearing, John talk and like he's there with his wife has just put him in a bit of a mad.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, Thyra, could you roll me not a will save, but a fortitude save?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's that bad booze you were drinking.
Oh no! We'll see.
I explode.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we need to work out.
Sigmund
No.
is sad, and in the background, Thyra blows up.
Well, it's
Fire
what's
thunders
the
everywhere.
bunk situation? Is it the top bunk or the bottom bunk?
I think she's
This
bottom.
is
I'm a
critical.
dwarf. I'm
You're
a
on the bottom
dwarf, you
bunk.
insensitive
Yeah, she's in the
asshole. Of
bottom
course I'm
bunk.
on bottom.
Well, you might like to be tall. You might like to be
She's
Glanvar
in
can
the
easily
bottom
jump
bunk.
up to the top.
Glanvar
Yeah.
can, Thyra
Glanvar
can't.
can. Thyra is, I think, a bit more.
Am I seasick?
Not only are you seasick, this sort of combines with the horrible booze that you've been drinking and sort of the aches that you have from your fight with Quick earlier.
Emotional and physical.
Emotional and physical, and this just results in Sigmund, as you are in your top bunk, you're not really sleeping yet. You are painfully confronted with the fact that heating air generally travels upwards, as you're met with sort of an acidic, sort of unpleasant taste. As Thyra, you are very, very sick.
Which end are we talking about here?
Mouth. It's mouth.
Mouth.
Okay.
Mouth.
Jesus.
Okay.
Fantasy Jesus.
Yeah.
Thor.
Thor. Oh, Thor.
That is genuinely what's happening. After a certain point, Thyra is just like, just uncomfortable yelling. She staggers outside. I'm like, oh man, we're downstairs and She goes to find a porthole to just vomit out of, and is just having a very bad time.
I think as you as you pass through, the corridors of the ship, and you find the porthole, you are sort of, trying to relieve yourself of your sickness. Suddenly, you hear a stumbling through the corridor, and you can see Kai, the one that you were drinking this booze with, sort of holding his stomach, walking up and saying, "Oh bloody hell, it's occupied!" And he turns around and goes to look for another porthole.
Okay, that's hilarious.
In the meantime,
Thyra.
Glanvar, could you roll me a reflex save tonight?
All the saves. The full trifecta of saves.
Come on, tablet, play the game.
I think that Dave, as you are upstairs, you and Adeline are sort of having a great time looking for pseudo dragon stuff. And suddenly, the nightly quiet is disturbed by suddenly you hear sort of the clunk of like a porthole opening, and you can hear I don't know how familiar this sound would be to you by now.
It's fairly familiar.
It's fairly familiar.
I assume accompanied with lots of dwarven swear words, which Dave can understand.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because up until the dwarven swear words, everyone would have assumed it was Sigurd.
Maybe, yeah.
Pegasus, Glanvar, as you roll a very, very good reflex save.
Heck, you're super close to the mic,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Basically, what happens is as Thyra sort of staggers by you, she pushes against your hammock, and Glanvar sort of falls out of his hammock, but in his sleep, sort of
Kick
makes
back
like
up.
a push-up pose and pushes himself back into his hammock, and being none the worse for it. Okay.
It doesn't even wake him up.
Yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't even wake him up. It doesn't even phase him. It's just his, his instincts. Maybe instincts that developed as he has been traveling with you guys. So, Dave, in the meantime, you and Aveline, what kind of conversation do you think you would have been having as you've been seeing these pseudo dragons?
That's a
What
good
kind
question.
of topic would you have maybe brought up?
I think like Dave would probably be interested in like the sort of sorceress aspect, but he'd be like tactful about it. Like he would be like, he would be more like, oh, like your mum's a sorceress. I guess you're the same kind of sorceress.
Oh,
can you do magic?
Well, I don't really do a lot of magic, because my mum says that it might be dangerous, and we're not really sure yet why it is that I've got it so well. I don't want to say bad, but well, why I've got it so bad. It's a bloodline thing. She probably told you that.
Yeah, like one of my friends is an undead bloodline sorcerer, so like you don't have to worry.
Oh my god.
You
Oh,
know,
Nethys.
He's a lot worse looking
It's
than
been
you.
horrible for him.
I don't know. He takes it in his stride, I think.
Oh, wow. That's... Oh. Okay.
I think
Well,
being
mine's an Archon bloodline.
Archon. Yeah, I can
Yes.
summon one of those, sort of. Not the same Archon, kind of Archon, I guess. But
Oh.
a kind.
Oh,
Very cool.
that's great. I wish I could do that. But yeah, my mum hasn't really been, big fan of the whole me doing sorcery thing. We don't know if it might get worse or anything like that. We used to have a journal, I think, from my great grandfather, Alfred, but my mother burned it
Oh, that
by
sucks.
accident. By accident, she said. But I'm not too sure if it was actually an accident.
It's a real shame. Like, if you've got strong powers, then you should use them. It's there for a reason, and you could do some real good with it.
I suppose that's true. But well, I wouldn't really know where to start. Is it? Could you show me? Can you do magic? You said you could
yeah.
summon things.
Yeah, I can summon things. I can do this. I probably just do like dancing lights. That's a cantrip. So, huzzah!
Oh right.
Dancing lights.
Oh, and she sort of claps her hands. What do dancing lights generally look like? Actually.
I'm not really sure. I tend to just picture them as being sort of kind of like the candlelight spell in Skyrim, like sort of a glowing orb. But I remember you drew them as like little blue fairy lanterns once, and I quite liked that as well.
Oh right. Yeah, well, it's your spell, so you can give it whatever shape that you want, of course.
I think at the moment they'd be like
Is it
sort
like
of
little tiny birds. Or...
Yeah, I mean,
at the
that
moment
can,
I think
that
they'd
can be a
like
thing if you want.
Sort of a soft blue glow.
Hmm. All right. So yeah. Oh wow. Okay, so and actually, let me quickly look up what kind of components Dancing Light has to see if maybe there's anything that Aveline could try to mimic.
Well, the cantrip.
So that's a verbal and a somatic component. Okay, yeah. So she sees that. She thinks it's very nice, and she is going to say, "Okay, so what you do is you do this," and she makes the motion with her hand, and she says, and then you say, and she just generally repeats your sort of pattern, and from her fingertip, one sort of small dancing light of a bright yellow color sort of pops off, and as it just sort of goes out again. Oh my gosh! Oh Nethys! Oh, that's so cool!
Yeah, it's a dancing light.
And what else can you do?
Like, is there any like small things lying around, like a pebble, like a stick on the deck, like a rope that might weigh less than say 5 pounds?
Not immediately.
Oh, I know. I could take like a bit of junk out of my pocket, like the keys to the monastery.
Ah, that's
out of
true.
my like my scarf, make them
Yeah.
float around, bit of mage hand. That's another easy one. Mage hand, very useful.
Oh, right.
That sorcerer friend of mine once did it, and he flew 5 pounds worth of spiders out of a window. It was weird, but it was also very useful. Very useful.
Wow. And she's just sort of trying to mimic the motions that you do, and do you think that like light blue is sort of your magical color, if you will? What do you think?
I guess so. I've not really thought about it before. Like, I definitely imagine like Court of Shards as being blue, and some of the summer monsters would be sparkly in blue. Some of them would be sparkly in pink.
Right.
So I guess
Well,
it could be.
let's for now say that as you are floating around this the monastery key, it's sort of surrounded in a slight blue sort of glow.
Yeah.
And as Aveline mimics your motions, you can see it sort of hover through the air and suddenly switch from blue to yellow. And you know, the movement becomes a little erratic. And it just flies through the air a bit. And the yellow glow dissipates as the monastery key sort of falls to the ground, and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry," and she quickly goes to pick it up and hands it back to you.
Oh, thanks. That's okay. As long as you hadn't like flung them off the edge of the ship, then there'd be a problem. We have to break back in.
Yeah, that's true. I'm very glad that I didn't do that. But wow, thank you. This is really cool. But I should probably go to bed by now.
Yeah,
So good night. And she sort of slowly scurries off and waves you off.
Dave would sort of do much the same. Yeah, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Okay, you are left on the deck, Dave.
Gonna have one last look around for pseudo dragons.
All right.
And then yeah, go to bed.
Yeah, perception roll.
He is very happy that he got to see one. It's definitely going into his next letter to Great Aunt Hilda.
Can Glanvar roll one even when he's asleep so he can point one out?
Actually, Glanvar, roll me a quick like extra perception. Okay, Glanvar Eagle Eye Power activates. 27. I think that as you are sleeping, Glanvar.
That's not with any penalties, by the way. So
No, it isn't. As you're sleeping, I think that your cabin, actually, your cabin doesn't have any portholes because otherwise Tyra would have used them. But as Thyra comes back in, and as the door of the cabin opens, Glanvar, you just about happen to open an eye, see through the door, through the porthole that is somewhere behind the door, and just about see a pseudo dragon fly by. And Dave, with a 16, you can hear their calls. You can hear that there are some of them that seem to be around. But in the dark like this, if you don't have low light or dark vision, then I'm afraid that you don't actually get to see any.
Yeah, that's fair. He's seen one, and he's very happy about that.
Yes,
So
he has definitely seen one.
He'll be going to bed happy, and then like probably smell like the vomit on the floor and be less happy.
Yeah. As you return to the cabin, could you make me a fortitude save, please, Dave?
Fortitude, which is probably, I think it's my worst one. Oh yeah, so it is. Oh,
Oof.
yeah. Oh no, now
Oh,
I'm ill
that
as
is-
well.
Oh, that is bad. What happens here, guys?
I'd assume that the smell makes me want to vomit as well.
Yeah, so as you as Thyra is just about going back to bed, Dave opens up the door, just is hit by this wall of smell. And yeah, just turns right back around towards the porthole.
is that a new spell he learns to cast? Chain Chundering.
Gross. What a waste of dinner.
And yeah, so you also spend like a short moment just catching your breath from just this painful reality check with your comrades. And
There's a brief moment of.
fortunately,
I should've
you
stayed on Scar.
she's just, I can just imagine like if there were like PATHCO memes, then just a face of just a sour faced Dave with the caption of "should have stayed on Scar."
My mum was right.
My mum was right. All right. Yeah. So you do fortunately manage to go back to sleep. After that unpleasant happenstance. So as the night passes, you hear the waves of the sea clashing against the ship. Dave, as you sleep, as you wake up for a moment for like a glass of water, you heard like another pseudo dragon cry. You're not sure. Might have been. And after a night's sleep, you guys all wake up again as you can hear the ship's bell ringing.
Oh,
Breakfast.
that's rarely a good thing.
It could be breakfast. Is it breakfast?
Maybe. If
Tyra
any one
falls
of you
out of
has
her hammock.
Profession Sailor, they can
I have
roll to
Profession
see
Sailor.
whether.
Okay, I'll roll it. Professional sailor. I've got one whole rank.
Oh, that's a good one, Glanva. I really like that image.
That's pretty good.
19. Okay, yeah, that's a lot. Dave, you can tell that the kind of sound that they make with the bell at this point is a bell that generally means approaching port.
Oh, okay. Like, if anyone else is panicking, going, oh, there's something happening, it's like, oh, we're almost at port.
Thyra wakes up and immediately charges towards the door with her hammer. We're under attack!
Thyra, no, we're approaching a port.
Ah, what? Hits the ground as just off the bunk.
Oh,
Plus, randomly trying to put his armor on.
Has he managed to avoid going face first into the vomit?
Vomit pile.
I think Thyra would have probably been courteous enough to clean that up.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Dave might have
I
made that.
mean, no,
really?
She used create water or something. It all got sluiced out. It's
Great
fine.
aspirin.
All right.
We're
Yeah.
sure.
It's fine, you know. It's just this watery stuff just dripping like
Yeah.
through the rafters of the ship.
Just don't think too much about it.
Don't think too much about it. Okay.
Might be
Anyway, we're at port in Vlergenflurger.
Vulcanraft?
Where are we going?
Are we at Vulcanraft? Where's the map?
Assumedly, if you remember the route that you were taking correctly, you would now be approaching Welgenrath. And I
Vulcanraft.
will...
That's it. I was
Yes.
close.
You know, I actually like Vlergenflurgel. Maybe I'll use that for some other.
That's a little village on the
mhm,
outskirts.
Yeah. Ah, yes, the ancient town of Vlergenflurgel.
Castle von Vergelflurgel.
Castle von Vlergenflurgel. Amazing. Okay. So, yeah.
Dim
I'll
North
run what you
Skullport.
guys do.
Go for breakfast. The only thing a halfling would do in this situation.
Have breakfast?
Yes. Well, if everyone was like leaving the ship, then he'll go off the ship and get breakfast off the ship. If anyone else is coming with him.
Well, I
this
guess
isn't-
Glanville will probably get off.
Yeah,
to
like,
shore.
probably go and find like the captain or Monbeck actually. Probably gonna talk to him before we go running off.
Could you roll me a perception, please, Dave?
Another one.
Or anyone, really.
Perception. Monbeck.
Thyra's changing.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's
Perception,
fine.
I will roll perception quite happily.
Let's have a look.
Sense Monbeck. He's been sensed.
Wow, not bad. Yep.
Not bad, yeah.
Yeah. So as
He's
you
over
guys,
there, it points randomly.
as you guys are discussing this, you hear from the hallway outside of your cabin. Oh my God! What is that? What is that smell? Oh. And yeah, that's Monbeck's voice.
Morning, Monbeck.
I like that Glanvar's perception is now so high that he can just bring people we want to talk to us.
Yeah, it's. I'm imagining that at this point, Glanvar's perception has sort of superseded like the normal five senses, and at this point, he is just sort of able to perceive sort of the auras around him, like monk style, sort of perceive the energies that surround him, the ki that flows in the surroundings.
He starts seeing people through walls and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a look. It is.
It is. You hear a rap on your door, sort of.
Thyra walks past him,
So
going to go and
massive.
get changed.
All right.
Morning, Montbeck. Bye, Montbeck.
Dave would open the door. Monbeck, morning.
Hi. Oh my God.
It's that really good camera angle of it's at Montbeck's head height, so Thyra's head just sort of bobs along the bottom of the frame.
And you
Nice.
can just see like the very
Let's go
top
and
tuft
take a
of
nap. I
Dave.
smell like shit.
Wow. Oh my God. And he sees you, Dave. Oh, Dave. Oh my. What happened here?
Thyra happened.
Oh.
It wasn't me. For once, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Ha
That's great segment, but okay, let's go anywhere but here.
Good
We're
idea.
approaching Welgenrath, and we're going to be stopping there for a while. Hopefully, no more than half a day. I mean, if you guys want to, this is. If you guys want to
Glamour,
go,
would you care to step outside?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can have a talk in the corridor.
please.
It's okay.
yes, please. Actually, if you would just all follow me to the deck. Ugh.
Assume
And,
time skip. We'll get
as
dressed.
you-
We'll go to the deck.
Yeah, as you are sort of brought to the deck by Montbec, you see, even from afar, you can see lots of ships coming and going to the cliffside, and you can see scaffolding, hold up cranes, nets, and generally walkways, and even small buildings on the large crag rocks outside, like off the shoreline. Something that you notice is that these ships do not have sails. None of these ships have sails. And
Does ours?
yes, yours has. Yours does. But the ships that you're seeing do not have sails.
Okay.
Nice. That's a look.
I assume she's wearing
Love
something
an
other than
aesthetic.
just a half cape.
Nope. Yes, she's wearing her armor.
Good.
Nice. Good.
No, she's got like one of those stupid, really high collar shirts on as well,
Nice.
with like the lacing along the collar and probably like a big belt of some kind.
Right.
Hey, look, these ships don't have any sails and whatnot. Montbec, explain.
Oh, well,
Thyra grabs him by the collar and is like, "What is this madness?"
Could you reach his
well,
collar?
if you just let me go, I'll explain if you want. You see, in the dim north, they generally have a bit of a different approach to, just sailing. Well, not sailing, but seafaring. Because
I imagine it's much
don't have
slower
sails.
without sails.
Well, you'd be surprised actually, because well, we can't see it here, but the way that it works is in the dim north, a captain is not only a man schooled in seafaring, but is also generally a quite powerful necromancer. And the way that it works, I believe, but Rosemary would know more about this than me, but I believe how it works is that they hunt sort of large sea creatures, and they resurrect them under the control of a captain, and then they build their ship on top of them.
Well, that's smart and disturbing in equal measure.
That doesn't sound
Did
very
anyone
humane.
else? Did anyone else kind of hear where this was going once he started saying, "In the dim north, things are different"?
No, I assumed they just had decks rowing like Napoleon did that one time.
Huh. You think that'd be easier?
Well, I don't know. If for once going from what Napoleon's done in the past is the least disturbing of options, and I
He
just
is
need to
not a
sit
very
down
good
to wrap my head
necromancer.
around that. That he is pretty shit. That is true.
And I know it's a little pot kettle black, but his body odor is not very good. We should talk to him about that.
Sigmund just brings up he's got his armor back on at this point, so he's just the burnt armor plate to sniff.
As you approach the port of Welgenrath, you can see that on the like the stairs and the scaffolding on the crag rocks, you can see a lot of people running up and down that. Everything seems very busy, and and they are really shouting as loudly and as vehemently as all of the seagulls, the birds, and also the pseudo dragons, of which you can see a fair few now, Dave, sort of flying around the port and seemingly trying to catch fish, trying to catch leftovers from sailors and stuff. They seem to be pretty like scavenging in nature, so you can actually see a few fly around here in the port.
Dave, look! Pseudo dragons!
Yeah, that's pseudo dragons. I saw some yesterday, but now I can see loads of them. This is great.
Yeah, at this point, the city itself comes into view as well, and there is this tremendous crevice inwards into a fjord-like open space where the cliff sides are all crowded with buildings hewn from stone, built on outcroppings, or sort of concerningly hanging from the cliff sides, being supported by doubtful scaffolding. And in a way that sort of Scumport stretches horizontally out over sort of the flat area that it's on, Welgenrath really stretches vertically along sort of the enormous cliffs here. And in the water, you can see these enormous ships. And as you look a bit more, down, you can see like large fins and flippers move and push the water to the side along the hulls of these ships. It's a sight, isn't it?
It is indeed.
What
What the fuck?
Is that Flying
John?
John? Yeah.
Yeah, Flying John has sort of also walked onto the deck and is now talking to you. The Northerners here, they're thinking up and down, you see. These cliffs and the mountain islands have been their home since ancient times. We're departing tomorrow morning, and you can sleep on the boat. Unlike at home, actually, night's the safest time to walk around here. It's like day for them.
Oh.
They have their, what's it called? Their sleeping schedule? That's what it is. It's all turned around.
Does
So,
that mean that
it's kind of
nowhere's gonna be
unfortunate
open?
that we're here during the day. But oh well. Suppose we can't do anything about that. If you want to go off the boat, be careful.
Does that mean that nowhere will be open? Will all the shops be shut?
That's a good question. I figure a few might be open. At least around here in Welgenrath. Because it's a port town, it's generally well adapted to the, to the habits of foreigners, you see. So there's quite a lot of shops here that actually open at night. And there's also quite a few that open at day. People from, around the continent setting up shop here and whatnot.
It's worth having a look.
And I am also going to add something to your, to your handouts, because there is a little map for this.
Oh yeah, maps.
Yes,
Yay.
maps.
I fucking love maps.
So that you
Jeez.
I
can
do love
see
maps.
what.
It's my favorite.
I
yes,
do.
maps.
That wasn't sarcasm. I'm never sarcastic about pets or maps.
Where is that? See, no. See.
So Thyra's still in
Yes.
her swamp boots, with the ridiculous heels on. I think she has some sort of weird bandolier for those throwing hammers just sort of strapped across, probably like her lower back. It's a look.
I think that Dave was thinking of using his magic sleeves to make him look fancy, but upon hearing that it's like shadier to go out that day, he probably would have stuck with his normal stuff. He doesn't want to like paint a target on his back for like, look, I'm rich, come rob me, or anything like that.
Thyra's dressed a little nicer than she normally does because she threw up on her traveling clothes.
Oh.
That's a fair point.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a vertical map, isn't this
It
nice?
is a vertical map.
Oh. There are some really nice maps in Dragon Age 2 that kind of fit this aesthetic. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and you can sort of see, and you can see this as you look at the sea as well, that there are, in the middle of this big open space, there are two sort of large rocky pillars that stick up, and on top of both of them, there have been sort of large fortresses built. One of them very much bigger than the other. And you can see a lot of what looks like bridges, like hanging bridges, go from all kinds of places in the city towards these central fortresses.
What do you think a novelty armament?
I know, I was thinking that. I was thinking that. We can go find out.
A what, sorry?
A novelty armament. It's in the bottom left. On map. Man, some cable cars would look good here. Like pulled by people, maybe? That'd be... I'd love to do like a second campaign of PATHCO in case everyone dies or, we finish the story where like some time has just passed. But I feel like we do a lot of unnecessary world building for this show anyway that we just never ever put in.
That is true. Well, sometimes you can't help that.
Yeah.
Could you all roll me a perception too, please?
Sure. Everyone turns to look expectantly at Glambar.
Oh, Sigmund, not
Why,
bad.
yes, I can.
Wow, on par with Glanfar there, Sigmund.
I
Not
rolled
bad.
low.
Ah,
Oh, that's just... Looking
that
at
was-
what Sigmund actually rolled.
Yeah, I did notice. That is something. That is something. Okay, Glanfar and Dave and Sigmund. Fyra, you don't really pay attention to this, but Dave, Sigmund, and Glanfar, you can see that every once in a while you could see through the air what looks like hippogriffs passing through, being ridden by people.
Do they look like they're dead? As an undead?
You can't really tell from this distance.
Hey, Glanvar.
But actually, maybe with a 24, they are generally healthy-looking hippogriffs.
Dave was like shaking Thyra. Thyra,
What?
that's hippogriffs! Thyra! Thyra!
I don't know if I know what a hippogriff is.
I need to see
It's,
one closer.
Big horse eagle.
Oh,
Hey,
Philo
strike it.
knows, Thyra doesn't.
Hmm.
There's an important line drawn here.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah. So you can see that.
I thought they were just weird birds.
And as the ship sort of comes into port, you are reunited with the familiar Scumport stench of just generally, port areas, harbors. Though here it is, it's a bit different. Probably mostly because it's a different area of the sea. But yeah, it's not. It doesn't smell as much of like rot and death and decay as you would have expected from like a dim north city. It
Oh, good.
really is quite reminiscent of Scumport in terms of
Fish, seaweed.
smell and hygiene.
I keep thinking diesel, but no, I don't think diesel exists, so probably not diesel.
Yeah, it's not.
Smoke.
It's not exactly
Smoke.
diesel, no.
Probably like whale oil or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, something more like that, more like whale
water
oil,
bird poop,
that
which has
kind
a
of
very
thing.
distinct aroma.
Mm.
Rotting fish, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
seaweed,
that
as I
kind of
said.
nice, just sort of that kind of stuff.
The normal common or household, rotting stench.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the ship has docked at this point on the. Let me quickly do. Where did I put the map? There it is. On the shipbuilder district side of the of this place.
Do we have like a map? Is it easy for us to
Yeah.
obtain a map in this style?
Can we buy one?
I think
from
that
John?
Montbec has probably given you
Oh,
this kind of map.
that makes more sense.
Is it official, or did Montbec
No,
write
it's
them?
hand. Yeah, it's hand drawn by Montbec.
It's on like a what are they called? Like those, they're like coasters but for beer. Bar mats.
Yeah. That's
Bar mats?
exactly it.
Is that the bigger one?
I would
I
have
don't
sworn a
know.
coaster.
Just a coaster, isn't it?
Coaster.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like, you know, the little temporary ones you get that are almost like a weird thick card, and they normally have like a beer merchant's logo on.
Oh, that's the bar mat. I think the bigger one is the bar towel.
Ah, yeah, yep. Heggers with the knowing about bars. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Clutch knowledge.
Yeah, that's handy.
Yeah, Montbec hands you sort of a bar mat, and
By you, who does he mean?
on the back of it is
Does he give us
drawn.
all one?
He gives you one to share, and he seems to be actually pretty good at drawing. Just for a scribble on the back of a beer card, this is pretty impressive.
I kind
has
of like
sort of
the
a-
notion that it's just this drawing, but on the back of a beer mat.
Yeah, pretty much. Although I think that in terms of handwriting, Montbec has like a very sort of small and like messy sort of handwriting.
I always think of like spidery when it comes to spider.
Spidery script.
Likewise with matchsticks. Now I think about it.
Yeah, I think that Matchstick's way of writing is it's almost scarily like typeset.
Oh yeah, we said it was like a
Yeah,
telegram,
it's like
didn't we?
yeah. It's almost scarily like what's the word? That all looks the same.
Uniform.
Uniform. It's almost scarily uniform. But anyway, that's a whole different story, literally.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you guys have docked at the shipbuilders district.
Ah, cool.
So your call if you want to climb not. You can see that Montbec doesn't seem very keen on going outside here.
Yeah.
So he is staying on the ship, but he has drawn you up this little map.
Is there
Sigmund
anywhere-
takes a look at it and is like, "Oh, that's really interesting." Of course, he's looking at the wrong side. He's looking at the front side. That's
Oh.
the logo of like a local pub on it. So, we should go, Thyra.
We should go.
Wow. I'm tempted by two things here. One of which is, of course, novelty armaments, because what the fuck is that? And the other is the Saint
just for
Caves.
window shopping.
Yeah.
Dave,
Or regular shopping.
Sig's kind of down for novelty art and like hitting up the pub that on the back of.
That'd be
Like,
good.
That's
Is
kind
it
of what he's
the
up to.
Ochre Conch gambling house that's on the other side of this?
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's exactly the sort of thing that would be on there. So
Neat.
it has this drawing of
What
sort
is
of
it, like a yellow seashell?
yeah, it's sort of like a golden, like a brass golden seashell almost, with like sort of a like two figures, like a mermaid and a merman, sort of invitingly swooning besides this seashell as there is a bit of text that says "All welcome at the Ochre Conch Gambling House."
All right, so shopping list. Yeah, I'm tempted by novelty armaments, potentially the gambling house, maybe the Saint Caves if we have time, because just what the hell is that?
Yes.
Any other thoughts from the group?
I want to
I
find.
think that's. Sorry, go on, Dave.
I want to see some hippogriffs, like close enough that I can touch them, please. And I'd like to go somewhere where there's like magic stuff. Maybe that Thaumaturgy place. I don't know if they'd have like spell books and stuff like that.
Who knows?
If that's okay with the rest of you.
I mean, that's the most magical sounding thing on this map.
Yeah. But I think we should look at the novelty armaments, just because that's close, and I want to see what's so novel about these armaments.
I'm also curious. Do you have to take like a little ferry across between the two districts?
Yeah, there are like little
Can we
ferries.
get a hippogriff? Can we hire a hippogriff?
Can you-
Maybe,
Taxi.
maybe,
Fantasy
maybe you
Uber.
can.
Fancy Uber.
You'll have to look around for that.
Hmm. Let's go ask in the novelty armaments shop.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I think that's definitely the first stop. We can figure out where we're going after then.
Glamvar, is there anything on this list that you'd like to take a look?
Glanvar's pretty happy visiting this, the novelty armaments and maybe the armorers.
Yeah.
See
Fair.
if
good.
he can improve
Let's
his
go.
bow or something.
Let's go have a look around.
Rad.
Window
Awesome.
shopping.
Right. Cool.
Shopping montage.
Shopping montage as you
Shopping!
shopping. Oh my god. As you disembark from the ship, it's very crowded here. As you disembark, it's very crowded, and you're sort of elbowing your way, probably Sigmund up front as sort of an icebreaker
Yeah, I think that's the way that goes down.
as you're going.
Glanvar could probably be parkouring across the,
Yeah, that's true.
the outdoor
Glanvar is
shops.
just
Assassin's Creeding it.
as you're making your way through the people here, you can actually you run into quite a few undead, and these don't really look like the zombies that you're used to. They're more like sort of dried mummies almost, not with bandages. That is just sort of very emaciated, very dried up, very preserved mummies. And they also all seem to be wearing masks. Most of them, actually no, at this place, some of them will have blank ones, but most of them seem to have like a logo of a trading company or a logo of like a noodle shop or something like that
Ooh, there are noodle shops here.
on their masks. And yeah, as you're walking by, you pass by like a little noodle stand, which seems to be manned by an undead. And yeah, he shouts to you, "Do you want to buy noodles? Do you want to buy noodles, sir?" And he shouts to you, Sigmund.
Yes.
Have we had breakfast yet? Because if not, yes.
Oh,
please.
You have
noodles.
not had breakfast yet.
Breakfast noodles.
I want, like those noodle bowls that you get that just have like an egg in there, like an egg like halved. That
Yeah.
maybe like some.
The
bacon
mummy
in there.
asks you, "All right, 1 times noodles. How many times? How many times do you want these?"
Glanvar, do you eat eggs? Are you a vegan?
Glanvar's eating. He eats anything. He's not vegan. He's not vegetarian. He just eats.
He's eating a
he's
person.
omnivore.
I don't know. I was double checking you weren't some kind of ninja. All right,
Do you
I
want,
guess that's 4 rounds. Wait,
Right?
does
Do you want
the
4
bird
rounds?
need
Do you want
some?
fish? Do you want squid? Do you want beef? Do you want surprise mix? What do you want?
Yes.
Can I have
All right, 4
please?
times surprise mix coming
Yeah,
in.
No.
surprise mix. Yeah, Sig comes in at the same time, saying,
Yeah.
The surprise is there's no meat in it. No.
Yeah, and the undead sort of
The worst surprise.
the undead sort of starts, stirring up noodles in like this big pot of boiling water with lots of noodles in. Turns around, and as he turns, you can see that he has more than 2 arms. He has about 6,
Oh,
Um,
That's
okay.
cool.
and yeah, he is making these noodles, and you get
His arms like grafted on, or was he something with 6
no,
arms
no,
when he
yeah,
was
they're grafted
alive?
on. There's
and-
not. He wasn't originally made with 6 arms.
Oh.
But it's not like because often you would expect like these sort of grafts, if you will, from necromancers to be like really shoddy and sort of really grim looking. But like this is pretty good craftsmanship. Like this is pretty neat. There's not like any sort of grim stuff that you would expect, nothing like dangling out or anything like that. As sort of weird as it is to say, he seems quite well made.
I mean, we're in the right place for it. That makes sense.
And he slams 4 bowls of noodles which seem to contain. Yeah, roll me a perception if you wanna figure that out. Actually,
Oh,
no.
wait, so-
Roll
so-
me a
wait,
roll me
some
a
of these-
knowledge
some of these-
nature.
Were some of these seafood?
Yeah.
Can I roll professional fisherman?
Oh yeah, you definitely can. And if you do not have
Whoa!
that skill, then you can roll knowledge nature.
Sigma knows everything.
Ooh, good, very good. Sigmund, you can identify a lot here. You can identify some mollusks, so sort of mussels,
Ooh.
and
Is he glad to identify everything?
that remains to be seen. You can identify that. You can identify what you think is like some cut up squid. You can identify at least 2 kinds of fish. You can also identify what seems to be like these are sort of like meatballs, like small meatballs, if you will. But as a fisherman, you know that in like port towns they make these stuff like out of fish offal, so they don't have to waste it on anything. So that's in there. And in general, yeah, just sort of other things that are, you know, questionable at best.
I pass this information on and eat it anyway.
It's
Yeah.
basically most of it is what you wouldn't put in any of the named noodle offers.
Well, like mollusks are pretty nice.
Yeah.
Dave would take the one that looks the least horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not,
Like
it's
that.
not, well, yeah, it's pretty horrible. But it's
this-
nothing, it's nothing that you're not used to from like Scumport and stuff.
Yeah, he's still sad
Is this
about
a
it.
sit-down meal, by the way, or are we like eating and
takeaway.
walking?
Eat
That's
in
up
or-
to you to decide.
Eat in or take away? I feel like takeaway makes more sense, so we can be like
Yeah,
eating
let's
and walking.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a stall, so it's pretty. It's in like a bowl that you can easily
Oh,
carry.
who's paying
Okay.
for it, by the way? Dave's
Oh,
not.
I'm
'cause Dave
paying.
didn't consent to this.
Tyra will buy. How much?
And he sort of counts. That's 8 copper, please.
Yes,
Here's 10 for your quality service, mate.
All right. He lifts his little. He has like a little like paper hat on, with the name of like the noodle chain that he seems to be a part of. He lifts that for a moment off his bald head. Says, "Thank you very kindly." And he turns to other customers.
Oh, what a nice man. So, just while we're walking, are undead corporate slaves in this town? Has anyone else noticed that?
He didn't look like a slave.
I mean, he seemed pretty chirpy for a corporate slave. That's why I'm... And, you know, if I wasn't working for a church, I'd probably be asking if we weren't all corporate slaves in the end. Om nom nom. Thyra is still eating noodles.
I'm a
So
slave to
this
no one.
entire philosophical exchange.
All right. I think you guys are on that topic. As you're passing, you can see, you know, a lot of these undead hauling crates, often crates bearing like insignia similar to the ones they have on their masks. You can also see a bunch of ones with nothing on their masks passing by, and amongst them is a woman in full red robes, with sort of a hat that is like, it's like a tall fez,
Okay.
and which is also red. It's this very peculiar sort of very high fez that she's wearing, and this seems to be sort of like clerical, clerical gear.
Religious nonsense.
Knowledge 14. That's reasonably good. You know that people in the dim north generally worship Zura, who is, by your standards, a demon lord. And yeah, they worship Zura. They generally hold like colors like silver and red. Those are generally the colors that, like white, silver, and red are the colors of the Zura clergy, and by extension, the like royal forces and royal guards, royal house of the dim north.
Thyra gives the cleric like a finger gun because she's still got the noodle ball in one hand, and a wink.
The cleric sort of turns to you, gives you like a quizzical look, but she seems reasonably kindly, and she continues on with her little gaggle of like undead, and like these undead are they're holding like bells that they're ringing, and some of them are bearing like iconography and stuff.
More importantly, are we close to the novelty armaments shop?
Yeah, I think that you at this point would be approaching the novelty armaments shop. So from the outside, where did I put that? Out there. I'm gonna quickly put that map on the handouts. There we go. As you approach it, you can see a big sign that is sort of made out of wood with like brass finishes, and it says Kinger and Brass Novelty Armaments. And if you look through the window, you can see what looks like these things look pretty exotic to you. Most of these look like, roll me a knowledge geography, actually.
Dave.
Gladly. Thank you. What's my bonus to that? I'll take a 10, so that's a 20.
All right. Yep, that is plenty. Lots of these look like sort of from the eastern continents. Some of them look from like down south, where that the general kinds of swords that are used are more sort of thin, like rapier-like swords, which seems to be like the sort of choice more towards the south. You can see like a trident-like thing almost. So these all look imported from like various places in the world, and you can see one thing which seems to be like sort of a very well-crafted and very ornate pistol hanging as well. And that is the only thing that does not have a little paper with a price on it.
I've heard that if there's no price tag, it means that you can't afford it.
Yeah, Sigma was thinking this was going to be more like throwing knives shaped like penises or something rather than exotic weapons.
I feel like novelty is kind of a misnomer here.
Yeah. So it's thinking more like, yeah. And so you said the only weapon that doesn't have a price tag is pistol.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No, Sigma doesn't. Sorry, go on, Thyra.
Thyra's going to have a peek through the windows if there's anything she recognizes from the dwarven lands to the north. It's just more curiosity than anything.
All right. If you want to roll a perception.
Maybe they'll have some halfling slaves.
I see nothing.
No, not really. Maybe some that look familiar, in terms of design, but you don't really see anything that specifically has dwarven like insignia on it or symbolism or anything like that.
Are we gonna go in?
So yeah.
Do you want to go in?
Yeah, I'm gonna go in.
Okay,
All
that
right.
was going in. Guess the
As
rest
you-
of us are as well.
Yeah, Sigma's going in, but he's a bit more uncomfortable than he originally.
So yeah, as you open this up, you immediately see that most of the weapons that are here are sort of how do you say? They're more like fireplace mantle weapons rather than like actual fighting ones. A lot of these, as you come in, you can see that a lot of these have like weird shapes, and many of them you could see that they have like papers that describe them as exotic weapons from the this and this tribe from the far land of blah blah blah. And yeah, a lot of them seem to be made like really impractically. And as you're looking around, you hear some stumbling in the back of the shop, and a sort of pale man with black scraggly hair and a thin mustache comes out, and he says, "Hello, welcome to King Pass. I am Mr. Kinger. Can I help you?"
We're just having a look around.
All right. If there's anything you like, let me know.
Will do. Thank you.
And he goes back to doing something in the back of the shop.
Okay.
Hag, you're doing that thing where you're blowing really
Sorry.
heavily into the mic again.
Yeah.
I'm not blowing heavily, I'm just...
Oh. I assumed it was your fan or something, to be honest. Thyra's gonna like be just sort of wandering around in the way that a kind of child does if they're disinterested in a shop.
Mm.
Yeah, Dave's not super into this.
All right. Is there anything specific that you guys might be looking for here? Or if not, then that's also fine.
Well, Glanvar's pretty much only we either looking for bows or new arrows.
All right. You can see that there is one ornate crossbow that is hanging up, but you don't immediately see like arrows or a normal bow.
Okay.
Well, I guess I suppose it's the bust for Glanvar then, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, I guess we're better off going to like a more mainstream armaments shop.
Yeah, yes, when he said, like, Sigmund will take first. Thyra,
Yes.
when they said novelty weapons, I assumed there would be some that were more phallic.
I kind of assumed that too.
Like a pair of nunchucks with, like...
Yeah, this is a little uncomfortable.
Righty-ho.
Thyra's going to roll stealth to try and sneak out of the shop.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Can't imagine this is going to go very well.
That's pretty
that's
good for a
fine.
-4 to slight stealth.
Like Mr. Kinger is preoccupied, so that is plenty.
You know, I think Sigmund is also going to try to sneak out of the shop.
All right. Oh yeah, 14. That's good enough.
Huh. I was probably expecting him to go clanking out of it. Man, no.
I was expecting him to trip and fall through the plate glass door.
Yeah.
I don't think Dave would be stealthy.
We got out. He didn't hear us. Goes for a fist bump.
It's like a really loud fist bump because Thyra is still wearing her gauntlets.
Yeah, so it's Sigmund like clang.
Dave will probably
Let's
just
all
say,
agree never to go into funny-sounding penis
Yeah.
weapon shops again.
"Well, next." Dave is constantly, by the way, as always, looking out for anywhere that might sell interesting animals.
You haven't really seen any animal shops here yet.
Yeah, I
Most
did
of what
think
you
so.
see here is either harbor supplies, or things that generally seem aimed toward like mercenary types.
Yeah.
So, armories, stuff like that.
I'd quite like to check out the thaumaturgy place. If anyone else wants to go.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go check out what a thaumaturge is.
Something to do with magic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I only heard I'm pretty sure there, by the way.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's to do with magic. That's all I was saying.
Shrugging. Do we have to like requisition a little boat to get across the harbor then? Like, are there just skeleton dudes and little rowing boats?
From what you can tell, there is indeed a boat service that sort of takes you across. If you go a bit higher, you might also be able to take a bridge from this side to the middle pillar and then take a bridge there to the other side.
Oh, wait, can I go back into the horrible colonialist shop and just be like, hey, how do you rent is it a griffin? I poke my head out the door and I'm like, is it a griffin?
It's a hippogriff, but it's fine, though it would probably cost lots of money. Let's just...
How much does it cost to hire one hippogriff?
One isn't going to be enough for all of us anyway, come on.
What do you mean hire a hippogriff? You can't hire them.
Well, do I ask the hippogriff or is there a man?
Do not.
Who do we have to bribe, sir?
That's not something you do.
Oh.
Those are the steeds of the Shining Riders. You don't just hire a hippogriff. Get out of my shop. Go on.
Okay,
We didn't even buy anything.
No, we have to bribe the Shining Hymens. That's fine. That's
I do not think that is what he called them.
Yeah, it is the Shining Riders, for clarity.
That makes more sense. Are they like... Dave, what the hell is a Shining Rider?
Do I have any idea?
Knowledge religion.
Oh, shit, that's my thing.
For the sake of giving Thar a chance, I will roll it rather than taking a 10.
Oh,
yeah, never mind.
Yeah, Dave, you definitely know that the Shining Riders are a paladin order who are dedicated to the faith of the Dim North and are the most widespread paladin order that exists in the Dim North. And you also know that, like all of the upper class of the Dim North, they are vampires.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're paladin vampires. It's no big deal.
And yeah, you can recognize them, and they are called as they're called because they generally wear sort of winged sort of helmets with large wings on them, which are made out of mithril, and that's why they are called the Shining Riders.
And not the fact that they ride big old hippogriffs?
Well, that's the riding part.
Yeah, the shining
but
part.
the shining part is due to the mithril helmets.
Less confused now.
It's probably not a good idea to get in their way. Let's just get the boat.
Alright, but after that we'll try and bribe them.
No. I guess that means
Okay,
I'm not going to get up close. Very sad.
A ferry boat is going to cost you 1 copper each, so 4 copper.
Okay. Who's forking out for that then? I guess I am.
No, let's all painstakingly take 1 copper each off of our inventory. Haggers, don't forget to take 1 copper for this ferry ride. Ag, I know you're muted. If you could not forget to take away the 1 copper for the ferry ride from your abundance of coin, please.
I have deducted the 1 copper. Okay, let's go.
More of a pain in the ass to break as silver than it is. And it's, well, I actually have copper coins spare.
I like the idea of you just taking out a silver coin, biting it, and it just splits into 10 coppers.
Oh, I'm a dwarf, aren't I? So.
Mm-hmm.
You just squeeze it really hard and it bursts into 10 small copper pieces.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's how that works.
That is exactly how currency works.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, yeah, so you guys are on the other side. And this side seems to be much more whereas the other side was really meant for the people who don't really come off their boats a lot and who are mostly there for business, this side seems to be more, general shops and more aimed towards the people that actually live here, and towards people that come visit here to do like shopping and stuff like that.
Like us.
Whereas the other side was much more oriented towards like mercenaries and ship captains and stuff like that, like resupply and more like the big trade.
Okay. So maybe there'll be someone
they're
that sells animals over here.
Roll me a perception.
Can I do knowledge local instead? Okay, perception.
18. There is one little shop, which seems to sell lizards.
This is pretty cool. Not sure why I'd keep one. I might go in that later, but let's check out the thaumaturgy place first.
Okay.
That's what Dave's doing
As you approach this place, you pass by the chemist's shop or the alchemy shop that is on your map, and you hear sort of a deafening bang, and you see out of one of the windows sort of a purple-red smoke blowout, dotted with like golden like glitter, and you hear just generally sort of screaming and like agitated talking inside.
Like,
As
is
you
it
come up
just...
to the
Is it
Sigmund's just like, I don't remember. That reminds me of what it was like back home before I left.
Was like the noise like an...
In Grausberg, not. I know.
Was it like an oh bugger kind of situation rather than a death screaming horror?
No, it's definitely like more of an oh bugger
Okay.
situation.
I won't stop to try and help them. Just keep going.
Yeah. As you come up to the thaumaturgy place, it doesn't seem to be like the most chic of magic shops. You've seen some of them here that look more a lot more pristine, but also look a lot more like they mostly sell like cards and things that lots of people generally think are magic but aren't really magic, and are very like popular and things like that. But this place seems to be a pretty reasonable establishment.
Authentic.
And you can see that the front window is very, very dusty, and peering through it, sort of wiping a little on the window and peering through it, you can see like some piles of books there, and like a skull with a jewel in its brow sitting on like a pedestal. But most of the stuff looks, pretty old. But it seems, it's reasonable for a magic.
Yeah, classic magic place. Oh, this place looks like it's in our price range. Says Dave, and he'll go in if it's open.
Okay.
I assume it's open.
Yeah, the door is definitely open. This place, once you come inside, you smell a very pungent sort of incense smell, and you can immediately see a little cupboard sitting in the middle of the storeroom, where there's like an incense burner that spreads this waft of incense around the room. And yeah, you can see there's books here. These are some of them are actual like grimoires of spells. Most of them are like magic for dummies, like magic history books, that sort of thing. You can see that there's a scrolls corner, and you can also see that there are 2 or 3 wands that are placed sort of in 3 display cases. And behind the counter there is a very wizened little man with sort of an eye patch with seemingly like weirdly long fingernails with crossed hands, and he is sort of playing cards by himself on the counter, and he looks up and says, "Oh, hello.
Hi.
Take your time, look around. If there's anything that catches your fancy, be sure to tell."
Will do. Probably worth saying sort of outright, this is out of character. What Dave is specifically looking for would be a book that he could give to Aveline.
Oh, right.
Like, probably one of those Magic for Dummies, but kinds of books,
right.
sort of, a beginner's guide
Okay.
to being a sorcerer.
Yeah. Roll a perception.
But he is also just personally, wands. Wands are very useful. so
How about the rest of you
those.
guys? Have any others entered the magic shop?
I think Six is generally just following and.
Yeah, well, Glanville would have. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think we all probably would have done, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Thyra is stood outside, like, people watching.
Right.
Any particular reason?
Not really. She just finds this new place quite interesting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, Dave, as you are looking around, you can find there's actually a lot of books on this subject. There's a lot like books that are titled like The Principles of Sorcery, Sorcery for the Novices, Early Sorceries of the like era.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So yeah, there's a pretty wide array of books like that. Some of them are more expensive, sort of bigger, more ornate. Some of them are very much sort of like paperback almost, little booklets.
Trying to bridge the gap, walk the line between genuinely useful and least likely to get her in trouble with her mum if her mum finds it.
Right.
There's a line that
yeah,
David
I think
walked
that
many
there's a pretty good pick that you find, which has the price tag of 2 gold on it.
Not bad.
It's not a very big book, but it does seem, it's pretty in front of the others, so it seems pretty recently written.
Okay, look for like a brief flick through it with my limited knowledge about sort of spontaneous.
Right, roll
casting.
knowledge arcana.
Okay. Do I want to take my 20? Ooh. No, let's be fun. Let's be spontaneous. Oh.
All right,
That wasn't very
18.
good.
That's pretty good. That's plenty to recognize that. Yeah, this is like from the language you can tell that this is relatively recent, like not super old.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. You can see that. Yeah, there's some pretty good approaches to the stuff in here. There's a lot of diagrams that you can follow for like somatic components, that sort of thing. Like the diagrams are sort of like a little badly drawn sometimes, and sometimes the language is a little obtuse, but that's only to be expected from like books about magic and stuff.
Yeah. What about the wands?
In the meantime, Thyra, as you are looking around outside, could you roll me a perception as you are people watching? Maybe a perception and a sense motive, if that's sort of your interest. All
I
right.
don't see them, and
Oh,
I
dear.
don't know what they're planning.
No.
Is
No,
it
so
just
after-
Thyra rolling that, or is it anyone?
It's
I
me,
think
'cause I'm
Thyra,
people
because she's
watching.
still
Yeah.
outside and she's sort of looking
it's
around the
outside
streets.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah, you don't really see any people in particular, just more of what you've already seen. You can tell that there are still undead in this place, but there's not a lot of them with like masks on that have like trading companies on them. Most of these are blank, and you can see that the ones in the blank all have sort of a religious getup, if you will. So they seem to be sort of clerical servants.
Oh, neat.
And you can also see that as like that there's like two of them who actually are wearing metal helmets with wings on them, just sort of normal iron helmets. Two of those are running towards the alchemy shop where the purple smoke is still sort of flooding outside, and you can see like two alchemists sort of coming outside, like puffing into their hand and waving away the purple smoke and the glitter.
Did they glitter dust themselves? Is that what kind of happened?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
It's very common for mages, I'm told.
While we're in this like thaumaturges, Sigmund will bring up. While we're here, how are we doing for healing potions and such? Should we stock up? Do you think?
I've got, I think it's 3. I've got 3 potions of cure wounds. My wand's got a few charges left. How many has it got? It's got. Oh no, I have got 5 healing potions, and my wand has got 4 charges in it, so that's pretty good, I would say.
Fire! Oh, she's outside.
Let's go ask.
Denvar, how about you?
No, Grandma doesn't need any potions. He doesn't need to worry about them in general.
Very confident.
Sigmund will inquire just what the general situation is. You've got any kind of... in fact, he's going to see what they've got on offer. Like, he's not been to this place before.
All right. On offer, you can see that there's like this place is mostly books and scrolls. You can see that there are like 2 or 3 potions on shelves, but they mostly seem decorative. And you can see that on sale is sort of worn by a skull. There's a little like headband. And when you look down, there is a description written in 2 languages. One of them is normal common. One of them is one that I do not think you have. Necrul?
No.
So as you read common one, this seems to be a circlet with minor enchantment. And it just says that, circlet with minor enchantment, and then underneath it, it says, inquire at booth. So it seems to be that, you know, whoever owns the shop also can make circlets with, like, minor enchantments as an offer.
Oh, like kind of what Thyra does.
Yeah.
So Thyra's probably going to be able to do us a better deal than whoever this guy is.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Okay, well, good to know. Good to know.
Otherwise, you can see that there is a book that has a "just in" label. So this is a very new one.
Okay. What's that?
And yeah, this one has a pretty complicated title. So it has a title in the general array of like specificalities of the second suborder of divination schools. So this is pretty like textbook-esque.
Sigmund actually just starts snoring as he's partway through the title.
Yeah. It's definitely that kind of book. This seems to be the book that also sells like magic like textbooks to whatever institutions are here.
Oh, so the books are really bad, but they're massively overpriced. You have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I remember that.
Exactly.
It sucks.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, there's also a lot of more popular stuff here. In terms of scrolls, there is a new offer. There's a new offer, which seems to be. Let me quickly look through this. So, magic circle against good. Against evil is the new. Is the new offer.
No, it's dim north. It might not.
Yeah.
It's true, but it generally. Well, Anyway, yeah, magic circle against evil is a new offer of scrolls.
So, you know how sometimes in certain shops or supermarkets, they'll have, like, the bargain bin,
Yeah.
like 50p DVDs?
Yeah.
Is there an
Bargain bin,
equivalent here?
Yeah, there definitely is. It's a dusty bin which has like 5 books in it, and 1 scroll.
Okay, what's the scroll?
Scroll is a scroll of create water.
Farah can do that. What are the books?
2 of the books are also sort of very outdated textbooks. One of them is actually a grimoire with a few spells in them, so it doesn't really have a title, but it's more like signed by like the author and stuff like that.
Oh, what kind of spells?
As you browse through it, you can draw. You don't have knowledge arcana, do you?
No.
No. You can't really tell what kind of spells they are because there's no titles or anything. This is more like a scribble book almost.
Okay.
But from the cover, which has a big sort of hand on it with like a flaming halo around it, like an illustration of that, you're pretty sure that these are like evocation spells, like, you know, fire and stuff and that sort of thing.
How much is it?
It's 5 silver.
I think Sigurd will just get that, like as a souvenir for Apollyon.
Oh, right.
Aww.
Okay, yeah. So as you pay your 5 silver, the man says, "Oh, wow! I didn't expect anyone to actually still buy that thing. Well, have fun with it and be careful."
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Man goes back to playing his cards. Dave, how are you at the moment?
Oh, is he playing cards? What cards is he playing?
He's playing like I'm not sure if it's called Patience in English as well, but it's like a card game that you can play by yourself.
It's like solitaire.
Solitaire.
It's similar
Solitaire,
kind of vibe.
yeah, that's the name.
I'm pretty sure Patience might be a game as well. I don't know if it's the same one.
I think it's the same one.
It's a different game, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for now we'll say that it's Solitaire.
Oh, no, I think it is the same. Huh. I like Patience better. That's a nicer name.
We've learned something today.
So yeah, that's what he is playing.
Okay.
Bizarrely, there are some versions of Patience that are played with more than one player.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay, that's pretty weird. Okay, in the meantime, Dave, how are you for like anything else that you might want to buy?
I'm definitely gonna get that book. But just cast my eye over like what the wands might be, if they're anything useful.
One of the wands seems to be a wand of dancing lights, which, you know, isn't very useful to you. One of them, let me quickly look up here. One of them is a wand of magic weapon,
Cool,
and
but again,
one
not
of them
useful.
is a wand of a. Actually, for the other one, roll me a spellcraft because that's a more powerful.
Okay. You sure can't do knowledge arcana?
It's gonna be spellcraft.
Yeah, not bad.
See, that's not too bad. That is a wand. It's sort of a black wand, and at its tip, it has sort of a yellowish crystal in an orb-like shape. And this is a wand of Fear the Sun.
Oh. That doesn't sound very pleasant.
Oh, I have that one. It's
Oh,
good.
do you?
Link that to
Okay.
you.
If Thor's got it, that's probably, again, no point getting it.
I mean, I have everything on the cleric spell list because I just prepare spells daily.
Well, that's all
You
right
know,
for
that
you
doesn't
then,
mean it's
isn't
not
it?
useful.
Nah. Yeah, they're cool, but I think I'll stick with just a book. Grab that, 2 gold. Hopefully,
All right.
hopefully it'll be
Yep.
useful to Aveline.
Mm. Yeah. So the man, gold, says, "All right. Have a nice. What's it? It's day for you. Yeah. Day. Have a nice day."
You too. Thank you.
Yeah. As you look at him, he seems pretty tired. Mostly because, yeah, probably like this isn't his usual like sleeping schedule.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of the night shift.
Yeah, basically. You can also tell that this man is very, very sort of pale, much more pale than the man you met in sort of that that weird sort of like colonial weapon shop.
Yeah.
So you assume that this man is probably like a dim northerner, whereas the other man probably moved here and doesn't really normally follow like their nightlife schedule.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm pleased with that. I've accomplished one of my goals. I'll write that down.
All right, that's great. As you come outside, you can see that it's sort of starting to become a little more dark. Because yeah, you've been walking around in the city quite a fair while at this point, and the ferry ride, as ferry rides often do, took much longer than it should have.
Yes.
So yeah, time is progressing here in Welgenrath, and you could see that there are like more people coming up into the streets right now, and yeah, life, it seems to be getting a bit more lively here now that it's getting a little bit later. And I think that as the time is progressing here, we are gonna leave it off at that.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's good.
come back to you guys' adventures in Welgenrath next time.
Which is not next
Right.
week, but maybe
Good
the week
game.
after.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
good
So,
game.
Yeah,
Pretty
see you
city.
guys.
Golden dice?
Golden Dice.
Oh, I'm not
Golden
sure we
Dice.
did one last
Who
time.
is our candidate?
Um,
No, I think that I actually forgot. Which is, shame on me.
I do like our little traditions in this game.
Hmm.
Let's give it to Sig.
I was going to say give it to Thyra for puking everyone.
Hmm.
that was
That's
quite
also an
funny.
interesting.
Less said about that, the better.
All right. All right. So we're going for maybe Thyra. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, Thyra was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, sweet. I
Alright,
don't
yeah.
have any golden dice right now, so nice.
Yeah, then that's handy, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. Good game, guys. Fun
Yeah.
session. We're still sort of keeping in like the role playing aspect a bit more. Which seems to be pretty reasonable. That there's not really much combat at the
Yeah,
moment.
it's chill.
It is
I
cool.
like
A
it.
role-playing game, to be fair.
It is a role playing
Sure.
game. It is very much a role playing game, and well, there's been like a lot of combat. You guys have spent like way too long fighting slimes. So yeah, now we're doing things a bit differently. Okay. So
Alright.
if you are going to end the stream, then we should probably all say,
Bye.
oh, jeez.
Oh,
Goodbye,
jeez.
everyone.
Say, oh,
Oh,
jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Ah, jeez.
Ah, jeez,
Ah,
everyone.
heck,
Oh,
man.
jeez, everyone.
Bye,
God
son.
damn rickets. Hot diggity.